Nobody laughed when a human walked in. That was the first sign something was wrong. The registration hall of Orbital Station Libra 7 had seen warriors from 100 worlds. Torvan giants who could crush stone with their bare hands. Kesori fighters whose ancestors evolved on worlds twice as heavy as Earth. Bravari champions whose long limbs could strike like whips. All of them had entered this hall with pride in their step and fire in their eyes. But when Danny Reeves walked through those doors, every single one of them went quiet. He was not impressive to look at. 53 years old, gray hair at his temples, hands rough from decades of hauling cargo between stations. He wore simple clothes, the kind a working man wears. No armor, no weapons, just a tired smile and a small bag over his shoulder. The Bravari clerk at the registration desk was named Tall Song. She stood almost 3 meters high, with arms like thin branches and skin the color of pale silver. Her species came from a world with only 1/3 of Earth's gravity. Here, in the station's standard environment, she moved carefully, always aware that a fall could break her hollow bones. She looked down at the human and tried to smile. "You must be lost, friend. The spectator entrance is on level 4. Danny shook his head. "I'm here to register. Heavyweight division." The hall got even quieter. Someone dropped a cup. The sound echoed like thunder. Tall Song's long fingers trembled over her data pad. "Sir, I think there has been a mistake. The heavyweight division is for, well, it is for serious competitors." "I'm serious. But you are human." Danny nodded. "Last time I checked." A massive shape moved through the crowd. Grull of the Torvins stepped forward, his gray skin like cracked stone, his arms thick as tree trunks. He had won 3 championships. On his homeworld of 0.4 gravity, he could lift buildings. Here at standard gravity, he moved like a man carrying a mountain on his back. "Little human," Grull rumbled. "Do you know what this tournament is?" "Fighting competition. All matches at 1 standard gravity. The great equalizer, they call it." Danny looked up at the alien who towered over him by a full meter. "Fair for everyone." Grull made a sound like grinding rocks. It might have been a laugh. "Fair. Yes. 1 gravity is the middle ground. Too heavy for the Bravari. Too light for the Kesori. Just right for everyone to struggle equally." His yellow eyes narrowed. "But you, human, you were born at 1 gravity. You breathe it. You sleep in it. For you, this is home." Danny said nothing. "You could kill every fighter here without trying." Grull continued. "Your bones are solid. Your muscles are dense. Your heart pumps blood like a machine built for war. Why would a Deathworlder enter a tournament designed to be fair?" The word hung in the air. Deathworlder. It was what the galaxy called humans and the few other species unlucky enough to evolve on high-gravity planets. Worlds where everything was trying to kill you. Worlds that bred survivors. Danny looked around the room. He saw fear in every alien face. Fear of him. Fear of what he represented. To them, he was not a tired old cargo hauler. He was a nightmare walking on 2 legs. "Maybe," Danny said quietly, "that's exactly why I'm here." He turned back to Tall Song and placed his hand on the registration pad. His information appeared on the screen. Name, species, planet of origin. The word Earth glowed red, flagged by the system as a class. 12 hazardous world. The Tall Song processed the registration with shaking hands. She handed him his competitor badge. "Your first match is tomorrow. Arena 7. 1 gravity. Thank you kindly." Danny walked away. The crowd parted before him like water around a stoned eye. In the viewing gallery above, tournament officials watched through one-way glass. The director, a Kesori named Deep Current, tapped her claws against the window. "This is a problem," she said. Her assistant, a small creature covered in blue fur, pulled up Danny's records. "He is not military, not enhanced, no combat training. He is just a freight hauler. That makes it worse. If a random human can enter our tournament and destroy our champions, what does that say about our league? About our fighters? What should we do?" Deep Current watched Danny disappear into the corridor below. "Nothing yet. Let him fight. Perhaps he will lose." But even as she said it, she did not believe it. No one who had seen the human walk through that silent room believed it In his small quarters that night, Danny sat on his bed and looked at a photograph. His daughter smiled back at him, her arm around a tall, Bravari man. Between them stood a child with his mother's eyes and his father's silver skin. A grandson caught between two worlds. "This is for you, little one," Danny whispered. "I'm going to show them we're not monsters." He put the photo away and closed his eyes. Tomorrow, the tournament would begin. Tomorrow, the galaxy would learn what a human could do, but more importantly, they would learn what a human could choose not to do, and that would change everything. The arena smelled like fear. Grohl could taste it on his tongue, thick and sour, as he stepped onto the fighting floor. His legs shook with every movement. His chest felt like someone had filled it with wet sand. One gravity pressed down on his body like the hand of an angry god. On his homeworld, Grohl could run for hours without rest. He could leap over rivers and climb mountains. Here, he could barely walk without his knees threatening to buckle. Across the arena, the human stood loose and relaxed. Danny Reeves rolled his shoulders, stretched his neck, and waited. He looked like a man about to start a normal day at work. 15,000 spectators watched from shielded platforms above. Bravari, Torvin, Kessori, a dozen other species, all united in their curiosity, all asking the same question: what would the Death Worlder do? The announcer's voice echoed through the arena. First round, heavyweight division. Grull of Torvin versus Danny Reeves of Earth. Standard rules apply. Match-ins by knockout, submission, or yield. Fighters ready. Grull forced his massive body into a fighting stance. His arms felt like they were made of lead. His breath came in short, painful gasps. But he was a champion. He had earned his victories through blood and pain. He would not shame himself by showing weakness. Danny simply nodded. Begin. Grull expected the human to charge. Every instinct told him to brace for impact, to prepare for the killing blow that would surely come. A Deathworlder at full strength in their native gravity could punch through steel plating. But Danny did not charge. He began to walk. Slowly, circling to the left. His eyes never left Grull, but his hands stayed down at his sides. Seconds passed. Then a minute. Then two. Grull's legs began to tremble more violently. Sweat poured down his stone-gray skin. Just standing was exhausting. The gravity pulled at his organs, his muscles, his very bones. Every heartbeat was a battle. The human kept walking. Calm, patient, waiting. Fight me, Grull roared. The words cost him precious breath. Danny shook his head. No. Coward. Face me like a warrior. I'm not going to beat a man who can barely stand. The words hit Grull harder than any punch. The crowd murmured. Some booed. Others watched in confused silence. Grull's pride burned hot in his chest. He was a three-time champion. He had defeated the greatest fighters in the galaxy. He would not be pitted by some soft-skinned human. With a roar that shook the arena walls, Grull charged. It was the wrong decision. His legs, already exhausted from simply standing, gave out after 3 steps. He stumbled. His massive body pitched forward, falling toward the hard arena floor. Danny moved. Not to attack. Not to strike. He caught Grull. The human's arms wrapped around the Torvin's chest, taking the weight, stopping the fall. For a moment, they stood there together. A human holding up a giant. The galaxy's greatest predator, cradling its greatest fear. Yield, Danny said softly. His voice was kind. There is no honor in this. You're a great warrior, Grull. But not today. Not here. This gravity is killing you. Grull's yellow eyes were wide. No one had ever shown him mercy. In 300 matches, victory or death were the only options. Kindness was not part of the game. Why? Grull whispered. Because I didn't come here to hurt people. I came to show them something. For a long moment, Grull said nothing. His body screamed for rest. His pride screamed for battle. But somewhere deep inside, something else stirred. Something he had not felt in a very long time. Respect. I yield, Grull said. The arena exploded with noise. Cheers and boos mixed together in a wall of sound. Some spectators threw things. Others stood in stunned silence. Danny helped Grull to the edge of the arena where medical staff waited. A young Bravari woman named Scylla rushed forward with a gravity harness to ease the Torvin's burden. You could have killed him, Scylla said to Danny. Her voice was quiet, meant only for him. Yes. Why didn't you? Danny looked back at the arena where officials were already preparing for the next match. Because killing is easy. Anyone can destroy. It takes something more to build. He walked away before she could ask what he meant. I in the stands. Deep Current watched with cold eyes. The Kasori director turned to her assistant. This is unacceptable. The sponsors want blood. They want spectacle. This human is making us look like fools. What do you want me to do? Deep Current's claws clicked against her seat. Nothing yet. But if he keeps this up, we will have to take action. The league cannot afford a champion who refuses to fight. Far below, Danny found a quiet corner and sat down. His hands were steady. His heart was calm. One match down. 5 to go. He pulled out the photograph of his grandson and smiled. One step at a time, he said to himself. One lesson at a time. The galaxy was watching. And slowly, very slowly, it was beginning to learn. The message arrived at midnight. Danny sat alone in his small quarters, reading the words on his data pad for the 10th time. His daughter's voice played in his head as he read. Dad, I saw the match. The whole station was talking about it. They said a human showed mercy to a Torvin. They said it was impossible, but I knew it was you. I am so proud of you. Little Ash watched too. He asked me if all humans were like Grandpa. I told him yes. I told him the best ones are. Danny closed his eyes and let the words settle into his heart. 20 years ago, his daughter had fallen in love with a Bravari trader named Gentlewave. When she told Danny she was going to marry an alien and live among the stars, he had been afraid. Not of her husband, of what the galaxy would do to her. And he had been right to worry. Their son, Ash, was caught between two worlds. Too strong for Bravari children, who feared his dense human bones. Too strange for human children, who mocked his silver skin and long fingers. He belonged nowhere. He fit in with no one. Danny entered this tournament for Ash, to show the galaxy that humans were not monsters, that they could choose peace even when violence was easier. His next match was in 6 hours. His opponent was Vril, a Kasori from a high-gravity world. Unlike the Torvin or Bravari, the Kasori were built for heavy planets. At one standard gravity, Vril would be fast, strong, and dangerous. This would not be like the first match. This would be a real fight. Danny did not sleep that night. He spent the hours thinking about his grandson, wondering if any of this would make a difference. The arena was packed when he arrived. Word had spread about the human who refused to kill. Some came hoping to see mercy again. Others came hoping to see him bleed. Vril waited at the center of the fighting floor. She was shorter than Danny, but twice as wide, her body covered in plates of natural armor. Her 4 arms ended in claws that could tear through metal. Her black eyes showed no emotion. Human, she said as Danny approached. I watched your last match. You showed weakness. I showed choice. In a league, choice is weakness. Only victory matters. Danny settled into a fighting stance. Then let's see who's right. The match began. Vril was everything Danny expected and more. She moved like water, her 4 arms attacking from every angle. Her claws scraped across his arms and chest, drawing blood. Her armored body absorbed his punches like they were nothing. For the first time in the tournament, Danny felt pain. Real pain. But pain was an old friend. 30 years of hauling cargo in low-gravity stations had taught Danny one truth about his species. Humans did not win by being stronger. They won by refusing to stop. The fight lasted 20 minutes. 20 minutes of blood and sweat and screaming muscles. Vril hit him 100 times. Danny hit her 1,000. Neither of them fell. The crowd watched in stunned silence. They had never seen anything like this. 2 warriors, equally matched, fighting not with hatred, but with respect. In the end, it came down to breathing. Kasori lungs were efficient but small, designed for quick bursts of energy. Human lungs were built for endurance, for running down prey across endless plains, for surviving when everything else collapsed. Vril's attack slowed. Her armor began to feel heavy. Her 4 arms dropped lower and lower. Danny saw his chance. He did not take it with violence. He wrapped his arms around Vril and held her still. Not crushing, not hurting, just holding. Yield, he said. His voice was raw from exhaustion. You fought beautifully. There is no shame in this. Vril's black eyes met his. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, slowly, her armored body relaxed. I yield, she said. The crowd erupted. But this time, the cheers were louder than the boos. Something had shifted. Something had changed. Danny helped Vril to the medical station where Scylla waited with supplies. The young Bravari woman looked at Danny with new eyes. You're bleeding everywhere, she said. I've had worse. Why do you do this? You can win easily if you just finish them. Danny sat down heavily on a medical bench. His whole body ached. My grandson is half human and half Bravari. The galaxy tells him he's a monster because of what I am. I want to show him that being strong doesn't mean being cruel. Scylla was quiet for a long moment. Then she began treating his wounds with gentle hands. I think, she said softly, the galaxy is starting to understand. In the viewing gallery above, Deep Current watched the replay of the match. Her claws tapped against the armrest of her chair. He's winning them over, her assistant said nervously. Yes, and that cannot be allowed. Deep Current made a decision. Change the rules. His semifinal match will be at half gravity. Let's see how merciful he is when he's the one struggling to breathe. The assistant hesitated. Director, is that legal? I am a director. I decide what is legal. Far below, Danny limped back to his quarters. He did not know what was coming, but he was ready. Whatever it took, he would keep fighting. Not to win.to change everything. They changed the rules at dawn. Danny learned about it from the cleaning staff. An old Torvin named Mossback found him in the corridor and pulled him aside with trembling hands. Human, the old alien whispered. They are afraid of you. The directors, the sponsors, they see what you are doing and it terrifies them. What do? Your semifinal match. It will not be at 1 gravity. They set it for half gravity. The arena will feel like your bones are made of air. Your muscles will have nothing to push against. Danny closed his eyes. Half gravity. A world where his greatest advantage became nothing. Where his dense bones and powerful muscles would feel light and weak. Where his opponent would dance around him like the wind. Who am I fighting, he asked. Cora of the Bravari. She has trained her entire life for this tournament. In low gravity, she moves like no other. Danny nodded slowly. Thank you for telling me. Mossback gripped Danny's arm with surprising strength. I have worked at this station for 40 years. I have seen champions rise and fall, but I have never seen anyone fight the way you do. Not to destroy, to teach. The old Torvin's yellow eyes were wet. Do not let them break you, human. The galaxy needs to see this. 6 hours later, Danny stood in the arena. The gravity had already shifted. He could feel it in his bones, in his blood, in every cell of his body. The weight that had pressed down on him his entire life was gone. He felt like a balloon, ready to float away at any moment. Across the arena, Cora waited. She was beautiful in the way that Bravari warriors always were. Long limbs built for speed. Silver skin that caught the light like water. Eyes the color of deep space. She wore traditional fighting robes that flowed around her like wings. Human, she called out. I have watched your matches. I know what you're trying to do. And what is that? You want to show the galaxy that humans can be gentle, that you can choose mercy. Cora settled into a fighting stance, her body perfectly balanced in a low gravity. But mercy requires strength. And here, in my world, you have no strength. The match began. Cora was right in half gravity. Danny moved like a man walking through water. Every step felt wrong. Every motion carried him too far or not far enough. His body, trained by 50 years of Earth-like gravity, did not know how to fight in this strange, light world. Cora moved like a ghost. She struck from above, from below, from angles Danny could not even see. Her long arms cracked against his ribs, his jaw, his spine. Each hit sent him spinning through the air. Blood filled Danny's mouth. His vision blurred. Pain erupted across his body in waves. The crowd roared. This was what they wanted. This was the spectacle the sponsors paid for. A human, bleeding and broken, finally brought low. But Danny did not fall that he could not fight like a human here. His strength meant nothing. His endurance meant nothing. So he stopped trying. Instead, he started thinking. Low gravity meant less force behind attacks. But it also meant less resistance to movement. Korra was fast because she was light. But Danny was heavy. And heavy things, once moving, are hard to stop. Danny stopped trying to hit Korra. Instead, he started moving. Slow at first, then faster, building momentum with each step. Korra struck him again and again. But each hit pushed him further, faster. And suddenly, the hunter became the hunted. Danny crashed into Korra like a falling moon. They tumbled together across the arena floor, spinning in the low gravity. Danny wrapped his arms around her and held on. Not to crush, just to stop. Yield, he gasped. Blood dripped from his lips. Please, this doesn't have to continue. Korra struggled against him. But even in low gravity, Danny's mass was greater. His arms were stronger. She could not break free. Why? She demanded. You're dying. I can see it. Your body is breaking apart. Why won't you just give up? Because giving up is easy. Anyone can quit. Danny's grip tightened, not in violence, but in desperation. I have a grandson who thinks he's a monster because he's half human. I need to show him that being human isn't about how hard you can hit. It's about choosing to hold on when everything tells you to let go. Korra stopped struggling. For a long moment, they floated there together. Two warriors wrapped in each other's arms. One bleeding, one crying. I yield, Korra whispered. The arena fell silent. Then, slowly, a sound began to build. Not boos, not anger, cheering. Human, human, human. The crowd chanted his name, not because he had won, but because he had refused to lose who he was. Danny released Korra and collapsed onto the arena floor. Scylla rushed in with medical staff. Deep Current watched from above, her claws digging into her seat. This is impossible, the director hissed. How is he still winning? No one had an answer. And in the medical bay, as Scylla bandaged Danny's broken ribs, the old cargo hauler smiled through his pain. Point one more match, point one more lesson. And then the galaxy would never be the same. Nobody knew what was inside the machine. For 300 years, the champion known as the Silence had dominated the Combat League. It arrived in a massive exosuit, for meters tall, bristling with weapons and moving with terrible precision. It never spoke. It never revealed itself. It simply won, match after match, until no one dared challenge it anymore. Danny stood at the center of the championship arena and watched the exosuit enter through the far gate. The machine was beautiful in a horrible way. Its metal skin was black as space, covered in symbols from a language no one could read. Its arms ended in claws that could crush stone. Its legs moved with the smooth power of engines built for war. Deep Current's voice echoed through the speakers. Final match. Championship round. The Silence versus Danny Reeves of Earth. Standard gravity. No time limit. Victory by any means. 30,000 spectators watched from the stands. Grull was there, his yellow eyes fixed on the human who had spared his life. Korra sat beside him, her silver hands folded in prayer. Vril stood in the back, her forearms crossed over her armored chest. Scylla watched from the medical bay, her heart pounding. The match began. The Silence moved first. IT crossed the arena in 3 strides, faster than anything that size should be able to move. Its claws swept toward Danny's chest with enough force to tear through starship hulls. Danny dove aside. Too slow. The claws caught his shoulder, ripping through flesh and muscle. Blood sprayed across the arena floor. The crowd gasped. Danny rolled to his feet and charged. His fist connected with the exosuit's chest plate. Pain exploded through his hand. The metal did not even dent. The Silence backhanded him across the arena. Danny crashed into the wall and slid to the ground. For a moment, everything was silent. Then Danny stood up. Blood poured from his shoulder. His ribs screamed from the earlier fights. His body was a map of purple bruises and red wounds. But he stood. The Silence tilted its massive head, as if confused. Stay down, a voice said. It came from inside the machine. The first words the silence had spoken in 300 years. You cannot win. You're only human. Danny wiped blood from his eyes. That's exactly why I have to keep standing. The fight continued. The silence hit him again and again. Danny could not hurt the machine. He could not even slow it down. All he could do was survive. All he could do was endure. Minutes passed. Then an hour. The crowd watched in horrified fascination as the human refused to die. Every time he fell, he stood back up. Every time the machine knocked him down, he rose again. Why? The silence asked, its voice echoing from speakers buried in the exosuit's chest. You are dying. I can see it. Your organs are failing. Your bones are broken. Why won't you yield? Danny spat blood onto the arena floor. Because I'm not fighting you. Then what are you fighting? Fear. Danny looked up at the massive machine towering over him. The whole galaxy is afraid of humans. They think we're monsters. They think all we know is violence. He coughed, and more blood came out. But I'm not a monster. I'm a grandfather. I have a little boy who thinks he doesn't belong anywhere because his blood is mixed. I need to show him that being human isn't about destroying things. It's about standing up when everything tells you to fall down. The silence went still. The arena fell quiet. 30,000 beings held their breath. You fight for a child, the silence said slowly. I fight for all the children. The ones who think they're monsters because someone told them they were. The ones who hide because they're afraid of what they are. Danny spread his broken arms wide. I'm not going to hit you anymore. I'm done fighting. Then I will kill you. Maybe, but I won't die fighting. I'll die standing. The silence raised its massive claw. One strike would end everything, but the strike never came. Instead, the machine lowered its arm. Slowly, piece by piece, the exosuit began to open. Panels slid aside. Seals hissed. And from the center of the machine, something emerged out of Kreth. Danny had heard of them. A species from a world with almost no gravity. Their bodies were fragile beyond imagination. Even standard gravity would crush their organs and shatter their bones. They lived their entire lives in suits and ships, never touching the ground of heavier worlds. The Kreth that emerged from the silence was small, smaller than a human child. Its skin was pale blue and almost transparent. Its eyes were enormous, black pools that reflected the arena lights. It was shaking. I am Whisper, the Kreth said. Its voice was like wind through glass. I have hidden in this machine for 300 years because I was afraid. Afraid of being seen. Afraid of being hurt. Afraid of being touched. Danny lowered himself painfully to one knee, bringing his eyes level with the tiny alien. You don't have to be afraid anymore, he said gently. Whisper's huge eyes filled with tears. You could kill me with one hand. Why would you choose not to? Danny smiled through his blood and pain. Because that's what humans do. We protect things smaller than us. It's what we're for. In the arena, for the first time in 300 years, heard the silence cry. The smallest being in the arena stood before the deadliest. Whisper trembled in the open air, exposed for the first time in 3 centuries. The standard gravity pulled at the Kreth's fragile body, threatening to collapse lungs no bigger than flower petals. Every second outside the exosuit was agony, but Whisper did not retreat. Danny knelt before the tiny alien, his body broken, his blood pooling on the arena floor. 30,000 spectators watched in complete silence. No one breathed. No one moved. I yield, Danny said. His voice echoed through the arena. The words hit the crowd like a physical force. Deep current shot to her feet in the observation gallery. What is he doing? He's giving up, her assistant whispered. After everything, he's giving up. But Danny was not finished. I yield this match, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. But I did not come here to win a tournament. I came here to show the galaxy something. He rose slowly to his feet. His legs shook. His vision blurred. But he stood. Every species in this arena grew up hearing stories about humans. The Deathworlders, the monsters from the Poison Planet, the killers who survived a world that tried to destroy them every single day. Danny looked around at the silent crowd. And those stories are true. We are strong. We are dangerous. We could hurt you all so easily. He turned back to Whisper. The tiny Kreth looked up at him with enormous, frightened eyes. But being able to hurt someone is not the same as choosing to hurt them. Power means nothing if you don't know when to hold back. Danny extended his hand toward Whisper. I yield because winning doesn't matter. What matters is showing you that humans can choose. We can be gentle. We can be kind. We can protect the small and the fragile and the afraid. Whisper stared at the offer hand. The hand of a death worlder. The hand that could crush, that could kill, that could destroy. The hand that chose not to. No one, Whisper said in a voice like breaking glass, has ever chosen not to hurt me before. My whole life, I hid in that machine because I thought the universe wanted me dead. The universe is cold, Danny said gently. But people don't have to be. Whisper reached out with one tiny, trembling hand and touched Danny's fingers. The arena exploded. Not with boos. Not with anger. With cheering. Grull rose to his feet, his massive hands crashing together in applause. Beside him, Cora stood, tears streaming down her silver face. Vril added her forearms to the noise. Mossback, the old janitor, wept openly in the maintenance corridor. Human, human, human. The chant spread through the crowd like fire. 30,000 voices. 30,000 beings who had feared humans their entire lives. Now they chanted for one. Danny lifted Whisper carefully, cradling the tiny alien against his chest. Medical staff rushed onto the field, Scylla leading them. You wonderful, stupid, impossible man, Scylla said as she reached him. You're dying. You know that, right? Worth it, Danny whispered. They rushed him to the medical bay. Surgeons worked for 7 hours to put him back together. 3 times his heart stopped. 3 times they brought him back. Whisper never left his bedside. 6 months later, Danny stood on a platform overlooking a new kind of arena. The combat league had changed. Mercy yields were now honored. Fighters who spared opponents earned points instead of losing them. The crowd still cheered for violence, but they cheered louder for compassion. Grull had become a teacher, showing young Torvin that strength meant protection, not destruction. Cora started a school for mixed-species children, a place where kids like Danny's grandson could feel normal. Vril joined the station security force, using her forearms to help instead of harm. And Whisper emerged from hiding forever. The tiny Kreth now gave speeches across the galaxy. In a voice like wind through crystal, Whisper told the story of the human who chose mercy, who refused to kill, who showed the universe that the most dangerous creature in existence could also be the most gentle. Danny watched from the back of the crowd as Whisper finished speaking. Beside him stood his daughter and her Bravari husband. Between them, holding both their hands, stood little Ash. Grandpa, Ash said, looking up with his mother's eyes and his father's silver skin. The kids at school don't call me monster anymore. Danny knelt down, his old knees protesting, and pulled his grandson close. What do they call you now? They call me Lucky. Ash smiled, showing teeth that were human and alien all at once. They say I'm lucky because my grandfather is the human who taught the galaxy how to be kind. Danny held his grandson tight, and for the first time in years, he let himself cry. The galaxy was watching, but this time they were not afraid. They were learning, and somewhere in the vast darkness of space on 1,000 different worlds, children of every species heard a new story about humans. Not about the monsters who could destroy anything. About the grandfather who chose to destroy nothing. About the Death Worlder who smiled and changed everything.